This is Keys to the Shop, episode 298, Atrophy or Atrophy. Well, hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Keys to the Shop, where we give you insights, inspiration, and the tools you need to grow as a coffee service professional. My name is Chris DeFirio. I'm your host for the show. Always happy to have you along. And welcome if you are new to Keys to the Shop. We've got quite a library of episodes for you, all centered around helping you thrive in your coffee career, in your coffee business. I would encourage you to subscribe to the show so you're always updated with new content. And also check us out over at keystotheshop.com, where you can find all the main episodes on the episodes page. Also, I would encourage you to share these episodes with a friend, with your team, or anybody who you think can really benefit from the content of these episodes. I really appreciate it, and I want to let you know that Keys to the Shop, on top of doing this podcast, also offers consulting and coaching for you and your business through Keys to the Shop Consulting. That's where I get to work directly with you to help you bring your coffee business to the next level with quality, operations, people and management, or help you start a coffee shop on the right foot, avoid costly mistakes, and also build foundations for the long term, for the future of your business. There's a lot of ways that we can do this, either remotely or on site, and I would love to explore what that might look like for you. If you want to give me an email over at chris@keystotheshop.com, we can set up a free discovery call. Again, the email for Keys to the Shop Consulting, chris@keystotheshop.com. Now, today's episode is brought to you by Prima Coffee. Prima Coffee, of course, is one of the world's best specialty coffee equipment suppliers because they curate the best equipment from all over the world, and they work directly with you to help you get the right equipment for your situation. So whether you're in the market for an espresso machine, grinders, brewers, or even things like under-counter refrigeration, smallwares, Prima Coffee has it. Check them out over at prima-coffee.com/keys, and you can get 5% off right now as a Keys to the Shop listener of your entire order by using the code KEYS5 at checkout. That's KEYS and the number 5 at checkout. Gives you 5% off over at prima-coffee.com/keys. So if you're looking for commercial equipment and great people who you can trust to help you make the right decisions, then definitely check out prima-coffee.com/keys. Today's episode is also brought to you by the Barista Series from Pacific. Of course, the Barista Series is the world's leader in plant-based performance beverages because everything in their extensive lineup is designed for, tested by the best baristas in the world. And when you get it on your bar, it's going to stand up to the heat from steaming, produce awesome texture for every drink, making latte art possible no matter what beverage you're using. And it also allows you to keep the focus on the coffee. Your customers are going to really appreciate that you've chosen the best to serve them. So go check them out over at pacificfoodservice.com and get these in your stores and try them out for yourself. If you're looking for the best plant-based options for your customers, then you don't need to look any further than the Barista Series from Pacific. Okay, everybody. Well, today I wanted to talk, I wanted to talk about something that has been on my mind for a long time to talk about on the show. And not just because I like the wordplay of the title, which I really do. I like the wordplay of Atrophy or Atrophy. And if you work on the bar with me at any point for a few days, you'll find that there's about 10 or 12 puns per shift, at least. But I wanted to talk about competitions. And competitions don't necessarily need to just mean barista competitions, latte art competitions. It can mean things like best cafe in your city. And in a sense, those things are not bad. I have competed in lots of different ways. As a professional in coffee, I've helped coffee bars compete for local recognition. But what I wanted to address today was whether or not our pursuit of a trophy and winning a competition is actually the right thing for our business, and when it can go kind of wrong. The idea here, of course, by the title is if you are using your energy and diverting finances, mental capacity, and energy towards competitive pursuits, you are by necessity taking energy away from other things. Now, while this is true, there are also returns on your investment when it comes to competitions. Some of those things are less measurable than others. For example, if you win best coffee shop in your city, you won't necessarily be able to tell for sure that you will get more business from being voted best cafe in your city. There is benefit to press. Of course, people realizing that you exist is one of those things. And in that sense, that would be, I think, considered more marketing than competition. But when it comes to things like latte art competitions or putting your cafe in for winning an award for your coffee beans or your barista skills or latte art skills or whatever it is, I think there needs to be some kind of checklist going on in our heads as to what we're expecting this to do for the business and how beneficial it truly is for the business. Now, I've seen the pursuit of competition work for the benefit of a business, and I've seen the pursuit of competition work to the detriment of a business. And the difference between the two has everything to do with intentionality. On the side of where competition is actually beneficial to the business, the long-term goal is we're going to pursue competition to get our name out there as a form of marketing, and we're also going to budget how much money we spend on this thing, and that's going to be done strategically against all of the other expenditures that we have to make sure that we're not draining resources from other areas that are critical to our business's health and viability. And we're going to be doing this for the long term as a baked-in strategy on a lot of different fronts. On the bean front, being recognized potentially as one of the better companies out there by winning a good food award, getting your coffees rated. These are ways of marketing your business. And you pursue that with some controls on it as a thought-through strategy that is an integral part of the business. And in today's economy, that's absolutely a necessary part of marketing your business, especially if you're a roaster retailer. Hopefully your wholesale and your bean sales are a major part of your revenue. And the more you can build your wholesale and online shopping and subscriptions and those things through those marketing channels and titles, then that's fine, as long as we recognize it as a marketing tool. I used to run a competition called America's Best Coffee House. I created this competition with Coffee Fest back in 2012. It was there was nothing else like it in the world. It was a 45-minute live bar, 3-person team, real coffee shop people that had been on the payroll of the coffee shop for 90 days, at least 90 days. We had very detailed judging. We had a queue of customers that were actually ordering drinks from a real menu. It was a coffee bar. It was a coffee bar competition. And it was called America's Best Coffee House. Now, I didn't choose the title myself, but it's a catchy title. But I think everybody recognizes that even though you might win something like that, if you win Best Roaster in the United States, or if you win the U.S. Barista Championships, or whatever it is you win, there's a part of us that knows it's not necessarily true. That's why we have to keep it in perspective as a marketing tool. Just like when USA Today comes out with the best coffee in all 50 states, and our coffee bar is picked, and we know that the person who did the selection was probably just spending like 30 minutes on Yelp eating a donut, thinking I've got to make a deadline, these people look good, I'll just choose them. If you get chosen, you have to celebrate that as an accomplishment. Like, oh my gosh, I want to thank my family, I want to thank my friends and all of my customers. You say, why? Why do we say that? Do we have ultimate faith in whoever wrote that article? Probably not. We don't necessarily think of this as the zenith of our coffee shop's life and achievements, but we see it as a marketing opportunity. Competition is one of those things that does that, and it has to be kept in check to say, this is not necessarily the definition of who you are. Because if you lose that competition, does that mean you're not a great barista or a not great coffee shop or something like that? in some people's minds, until they win, yes, that's what it means. And I've seen it time and time again. Oh, we didn't get selected as the best coffee shop in our city. That must mean, we're doing something terribly wrong. That, or maybe just the other coffee shop has 12 locations and more people read that particular city magazine than others. There are too many variables to consider here. So people do pursue competition as a means of validation. And that's where I think things turn a little bit toxic. That's where it kind of switches from being this, okay, let's work hard and let's maybe, win a competition and, this will be beneficial for our business in these ways. And heck, competitions also help us focus on the details of our craft, our business, how well we're roasting the coffee and all this other stuff. But when we start to use this as a validation tool, then we start to get overly focused on it. And that's when atrophy starts to set in. Because when we're overly focused on something, we've got blinders on and we forget that we've got local customers who, try as we might, may never care that the U.S. Barista Champion is from your store, because they're always going to get the same drink. And it's cool that you won that. But to them, they've got an entire life that has its own worries and its own cares. That particular award, while helpful maybe to inspire more cleanliness and detail and focus from your barista staff, it may have long-term benefits, but by over-focusing on competition as a validation tool for your business, you lose track of the metric of your customers and your staff as the ultimate reflection of the health of your business. So your staff, are they happy? Are they cared for? Are your customers happy and cared for? Making sure that you're optimizing your cafe and your coffee for the people who are buying it and not necessarily for the people who are judging it in a competition. We used to say this in competitions way back in the day. Every customer is a judge. And I appreciate that sentiment because it is really true. You can, and I've seen it many times, be so focused on this bubble of barista competitions and latte art skills and winning a good food award that it causes you to almost downplay the feedback that is available to you and right in front of your face in your customers and your staff, and overestimate the importance of a judge on a panel that you're serving some drinks to or you're submitting your coffee to. Now, at this point, I'd like to reiterate that, again, competition, I think, has its place. It does provide an opportunity for us to really get down into the granular nature of our business, and the byproduct of it often is that we become better professionals when it's in its proper place. If we don't forget that the true measure of the health of our business is our customers and our staff. And I tend to think of our staff as our customers. If you're a manager or a leader, I've said it on the show before, your staff are your customers. How happy are they? What's your strategy for investing into them? Are we spending a ton of money to try to get to a competition and we're telling people we can't give them raises? Fair question, right? Are we telling them that we don't have the money to give anybody bonuses, but we have spent tens of thousands of dollars to go out and try to get an award? It doesn't make sense to me. Honestly, it would be really refreshing to see somebody say, no, we're not going to go into competition because we need to focus on our staff. We need to focus on our business. And we can't continue to spend this kind of money on competition just because we're doing it, because it's expected, because it's fun, when we know that our staff are not being paid as well as they could be. We can divert that money to buying better equipment to facilitate their success. We can, give people bonuses. We can invest in the customer experience for the people that are actually buying our coffee on a daily basis and not just be concerned with, the community of coffee. I like the community of coffee. It's great. I go to Coffee Fest 4 times a year. I run this podcast, so I get to talk with people all the time, and I've been doing this for 21 years. I love the coffee community. But when you run a coffee shop and a roastery, the coffee community oftentimes is and should be one of the least of your worries. It's an extra. It's a cherry on top, right? And a lot of coffee professionals that love your coffee from afar will buy your coffee. But it's not necessarily going to be the bread and butter, right, of your business. So back to this idea of atrophy or atrophy. The difference is how you approach it, as the difference is with most things that are either healthy or unhealthy. A healthy focus on competition, on getting a trophy for your business, is one that has already considered that it will not cause undue stress on the business or the people that make up the business or the customers that patronize the business to pursue this. And that, in fact, in that pursuit, it will even have long-term benefits to participate in it, even if you don't win. If you can see the direct benefit to your staff and your business as a result of participation, and you can guarantee that it's not going to cause undue stress on the business and that the business itself is in a healthy place where you can do this, then by all means, I think that's fair. But what concerns me is when you have bad reviews, when your staff and your baristas are not really well cared for. If you haven't done the work to really dig in deep to make sure that your customers are happy and your staff are happy and cared for, and that the business is healthy, and you start viewing competition as sort of a last-ditch effort to really make everything go well locally by getting national recognition. I'm going to tell you, if you get national recognition, there is no fixing a bad system in your shop by getting an award. Best barista in the world could work in your store. If you're not running a good store, it's just not going to be a good store. You can have star power all the live long day, right? It doesn't make it a great place to work. It means you have somebody skilled who works there. But that's barely anything when it comes to a healthy business. There are lots of places that you would hate to work that have awards. They're voted best of whatever. They win a competition. But I bet if you worked there, you'd say, this is terrible. And the customers are complaining, but, we're spending thousands of dollars to win competitions across the world nationally, so I guess we're okay, right? So we need to do a little bit of self-reflection before we jump into competition or see winning awards as a valuable metric for our business. Do the first things first. Be sure that you're taking care of your own and getting accolades from the people that matter first, before you go seeking out competitions that get you accolades from others outside your business ecosystem. We have to question whether or not we're doing this for the business and for the people, or just for our own ego. Back to this idea of validation through external means. It's way easier to try to avoid the problems in your business by getting validation from outside your business, but it only causes the problems in your business to grow and metastasize and get worse until finally it just blows up in your face. So if you're in this position where you feel like you want to participate in a competition, I think as a winner of competitions and a loser of competitions and all that, I will say to you that it's a worthy pursuit if it's not going to cause atrophy in different areas of your business that are actually more critical to your success. Always keep this balanced with the idea that whether you win or lose, you have to have already thought through the direct benefit this will have to your local expression of business and the customers and staff that are a part of your business, whether you are successful or not. Without doing this kind of work, you're just building on a shaky foundation, and pursuit of competition ceases to be an investment and it becomes a detriment to your business instead. It's my goal to help you just think through some of these things a little bit longer, to consider whether or not this is the right thing for your business at this time. In the end, the ultimate trophy is the happiness and thriving of our staff and our customers, and everything else beyond that is a bonus and is cool. Let's be all about investing in first things and then build out from there in a healthy and holistic way. So I hope that today's talk was helpful for you. If you have any other questions for me regarding this episode or any other episode of Keys to the Shop, feel free to email me, chris@keystotheshop.com. And of course, that's where you can contact me if you want to work with Keys to the Shop Consulting, chris@keystotheshop.com. Now, in just a few short days, I will be in Anaheim, California at Coffee Fest Trade Show. That is the next location. And then in November, we're going to Portland, Oregon to wrap up the year. Coffee Fest for over 25 years has been helping businesses thrive and really focusing, like I said in this episode, on those first things, caring for your business, making sure it's a resilient, financially stable, good culture, good training, onboarding, all that fun stuff. You can learn so much at Coffee Fest through the workshops, the lectures, and the community that gathers there of a like mind who all want to have an excellent coffee shop. Go to coffeefest.com, click on the link to one of those two shows, and see what's on offer. I really hope to see you on the show floor. I will be at both and giving some lectures, judging latte art. It's always a fun time. Again, for more information and to register today, go to coffeefest.com. And with that, that is the end of our episode. Thanks everybody so much for taking the time to listen today. Remember to share these episodes with a friend and subscribe. And as always, I hope that this episode has truly given you keys to the shop.